work. Kind of hard to see my notes. So good evening and welcome to the 2018 Northern Sonoma County Luminaria Ceremony. The Luminaria Ceremony is an opportunity to remember the journey of our survivors, and also it serves as a memorial for the loved ones we've lost. It's a special time for all of us. We all come to the relay event for the same basic reasons. We may have fought cancer ourselves or watched someone we love battle the disease. Our track is illuminated by Luminaria. Each one represents a treasured relationship. They represent people and each has a name and a story to tell. They are our mothers, our fathers, our sisters, our brothers, our sons, our daughters, our friends, or our loved ones. And as they glow throughout the night, they represent our shared vision for a cancer-free future. Clap. I can't actually see, so I just need to make sure you guys are paying attention. We love the people that the Luminaria represent, and each one will touch us in a special way. Okay, so we know Luminaria Ceremony is about the remember portion of Relay, but tonight we're going to inject a little bit of the fight back message. Because we have so many of you here, it's the best way to get your attention, and we have a really important piece of information that we want to tell you guys about. So, I'm going to introduce Allison and Stephanie Norman, who are, what'd you say? Did I say it? Yeah. Survivors, advocates, inspirators. They're going to teach us about something very important.
Alrighty, so at the age of 22, I was diagnosed with stage 2 colon cancer. I had to have an emergency right side hemicolonectomy, and my left ovary was removed at the time due to a dermoid cyst, which luckily was benign, and then followed up with some chemo for the colon cancer. Because of my age, they suggested genetic testing. We found out it was genetic, and I got it from my mom's side. We have a hereditary cancer disorder called Lynch syndrome, which makes you more susceptible to certain cancers. 1 in 279 people have it, and only 5% know they have it. It's a 50-50 chance it gets passed down to your... Oh. Step forward. Okay, sorry. It's a 50-50 chance it gets passed down to your kids, and out of 4 kids, I'm the only one it got passed down to. Yeah, very lucky. 2 years later, at the age of 24, I was diagnosed with a brain tumor, grade 2 glioma type tumor, non-operable, and I was falsely told in the ER that my colon cancer metastasized to my brain and my prognosis was 1 to 2 months. And I was likely going to live out the rest of my life in the hospital. Luckily, that doctor was wrong and apparently eager to give me a prognosis. But it's been a year and I'm still here kicking the tumor's butt. I've done 6 weeks of radiation. Thank you. And I did 6 rounds of chemo. The tumor's still there, just much smaller and being monitored every 3 months. Both cancer were super hard to be diagnosed. Colon cancer because of my age, and the brain cancer was because the likeliness of actually getting a second cancer within less than 2 years was overlooked by my oncologist. I've learned a lot from cancer and how sometimes life decides to reroute you. When cancer chooses you, you're suddenly thrust into a club that you didn't ask to join and shipped off to a war even though you never enlisted in the army. I've grown up a lot and lost a lot of friends along the way while making new ones that I can actually relate to. I appreciate life more than before, and I'm just glad to be here today. My mom and I have been working very hard to get the word out about Lynch syndrome and how important it is because knowledge is power.
I'll just say she's my hero and my guardian angel. I say that because I did not know I carried Lynch syndrome It was passed apparently from my father. Didn't have a strong history of cancer. Probably a generation removed. So it wasn't really that strong in our mind. It might be cancer. So I caught my cancer early because of her diagnosis of Lynch syndrome. So she's my guardian angel. And I'm sorry I only passed it on to you. And it's a good thing out of 4 kids, only one got, but sorry. So what you're wondering what Lynch syndrome is, and that's why I'm up here, because I can explain it better. I don't know. So Lynch syndrome is a genetic mutation. There are several other. There's the BRCA gene, which you may have heard more. It's more commonly breast cancer. Lynch syndrome, about 80% of the people with Lynch syndrome will get colon cancer sometime in their life. And then a little further down the list is endometrial cancer, uterine, ovarian cancers, bladder cancers, all the way down to about 1 to 3% brain cancer. So knowing that you have Lynch syndrome is so important because you can do screenings. You can do early colonoscopies where now, thankfully, they lowered at least down to 45. At 22 years old, they didn't even consider, it wasn't in anyone's mind that, oh, maybe all of this discomfort is colon cancer. So knowing that you have Lynch syndrome is, it really, there's a silver lining in that now, what they call it is a previvor. Somebody that now knows they have a predisposition to certain cancers, and you can watch your body more closely. So again, Stephanie mentioned 1 in 279 people have Lynch syndrome. Only about 5% know that they carry it. So what we're out there doing is really advocating, pushing awareness, not just with people, but the medical industry, because there's a lot of doctors that don't even know what it is. So we're really pushing for that. And I think I skipped over what it is. It's a mismatch repair gene, and kind of like a spell check, your body, if something goes wrong, like even like with x-rays, we are susceptible for, a little nick in something in the DNA that isn't correct. A person without Lynch syndrome, your body will go in and correct that. With Lynch syndrome, it will not. And the cell continues to develop wrong, and then it develops and becomes a tumor and cancer. So that's what Lynch syndrome is, the short answer. And really it's just about knowledge is power and knowing. So just really knowing your cancer history is important, and sharing it with your family, because I didn't know the importance of my daughter knowing that my father's mother died of cancer. It was that subtle, but I didn't realize how important it was. So thank you for listening and sharing with it.
Thank you guys so much. I have to say, I've been involved with the American Cancer Society since 2001, and I know Jill Guidry's out there, and she is an oncology nurse, and this is the first time that we have heard of this. And 1 in 279 people is not that rare. So it's important that we talk about this so that people know, because our best defense is early detection. And you see that. I mean, you caught yours early because you knew to look.
Yes.
Because of what you found.
I would have dismissed the subtle.
Right.
And I ended up with endometrial cancer at very early stages.
Right.
Because of
So we really wanted to get this out there so you guys could know about it, because it's a really important thing to know. I feel like nobody's out there because I can't see and it's so quiet.
and that light.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you so much, you guys. I really appreciate it. And you know what I really love is with everything, she still sparkles.